It is Season 8 with our FC Arges side in our Building a Nation save in Romania. We are coming off the back of winning the double, which means we won the league and we won the Romanian Cup. For the first time ever, by the way. I didn't realise it was the first time we'd ever won the Romanian Cup, but there we are. We have won the double, which means this season our objectives probably need to be to do it again, don't they? And already before doing any real transfers, the media already expects us to also win the league. We're obviously in the Champions League as well, and you can see 2 transfers that we have already completed. One of them is Kobe Mainu, who is not as good on this as I think he is in the winter update. Obviously, I started this before the winter update actually kicked in. Mainu has joined FC Arges on a free transfer, 2-year deal, probably could have got a longer one realistically, but he is going to be very, very useful for us playing in that defensive midfield role. One that I'm more excited about, partially because I think he's a better footballer in my current Football Manager save, is Ellis Sims. 29 years of age striker, currently at Coventry in real life. He's going to be scoring goals for us. He is going to be absolutely scoring bag loads of goals for us. I'm putting a lot of eggs in this Ellis Sims shaped basket. That is all the transfer business we have done at the moment. If we look at finances, we are over our wage budget, but we do have £7.4 million to spend. Let's jump forward and see what we've managed to do, and see also how the season's kicked off. We are second place after 9 games, 18 points on the board. FCSB leading the way at the moment with 20 points, and Ellis Sims is the current league top goal scorer with 8 goals in 9 appearances. That's actually quite good, isn't it? That is actually very good. He's got 8 goals in 9 starts and an assist as well. Good job. When it comes to transfers, we have done a lot of business, and most of this is leaving the club. Mamadou Sanogo has left for £7.25 million, potentially rising to £8.75 million, moving over to Saudi Arabia. For £4 million, we have decided to sell Karamoko Kamgate over to Saudi Arabia as well. There are sell-on clauses in these as well, so if Kamgate leaves, I think it's like maybe 30% profit, something along those lines. So if he goes for £40 million, that's ridiculous money. Karamoko Sankara has also left for Saudi Arabia, this time for just £2.6 million. Faustino Andrin has moved over to Werder Bremen for £400,000. Matt Smets has moved to Al Batin, I'm going to say Saudi Arabia, for £850,000. For £145,000, Grigor Turda has moved over to Saudi Arabia as well. 160 league appearances he played for us. He's been very useful in the first 7 seasons, and then we've just shipped him off like we don't care anymore. The superstar Jacques Ndai has moved over to Dynamo in Croatia for £900,000. And basically, we weren't going to play him anymore. We weren't going to play him. We didn't really play him last season. We've shipped him on. Nearly £1 million is good money, I think. And finally, Falou Diouf has moved over to Saudi Arabia for £3.1 million. We have brought in a huge amount of money to the club. We have brought in some replacements as well. Some of them are children. Fabien Akale is one of them, on a free transfer side from Brasseries, maybe, I want to say from Cameroon. I think that's where I got them from. Yes, from Cameroon. They are a very good club to actually take a look at if you want decent young Cameroonian footballers. I think he looks good. I'm not sure whether he's going to be playing in the first team or in the sort of the B team or under 21s or whatever they are, but I think he's got some potential. Somebody who is very good now is Lucas Strassen. We will be playing Sims and Strassen up front, signed on a free transfer, and I think he looks really good. In fact, I'd argue he looks maybe better than Elias Sims. It's also Ellis Sims. I don't know why I called him Elias Sims. Ellis Sims, I mean, mentally, Strassen's better, right? Mentally, Strassen is by far and away the better player. Physically and technically, they're quite similar. I'm happy with that signing. But we are not done there with strikers. We have dipped our toe into the Romanian market, signing Ferenc Feher for £2.8 million, I think? £2.6 million from Sepsi. Now, I brought him in because he's 22, and I think there's potential, and he's already quite good. So, maybe we need to rethink our formation. I'm not quite sure. We've got 3 very good strikers now. And finally, for £2.8 million, we have signed Alex Cardos, who is also a Romanian right-back, maybe centre-back, signed from Feral Constanța. 4 caps for the Romania national side. I think he looks good, doesn't he? He's 6 foot. He's probably more of a centre-back. He can't do any real kind of attack kind of actions as a right back, so maybe he's more of a centre back, but he's been one of our more expensive signings, and that's it. That is pretty much all of the transfers we have actually managed to do. We've also got rid of a whole bunch of players on other deals, some loans going on, like Philippe Torre's gone out on loan, a whole bunch of free transfers as well. What does that mean for our formation and tactics? I'm basically going to let the assistant do most of the work when it comes to the strikers, because I'm not convinced I know who should be playing up front. I think I'd be playing Sims and Strassen, but I have spent a lot of money on the other guy, and I've already forgotten his name, so maybe he should be playing. Instead, this is what we are fixing in. Cheslin Mothra will be our #1 goalkeeper for the season because he's 19 years of age and he needs football, and he really needs football. We've also got Manuel as our right back because he did so good last season. We're going to keep him as our right back. I think we probably don't need to lock him in anymore. Serrano, I know it was mentioned he might be more of a defensive midfielder. We are going to keep him as a centre-back purely because he's just good. He's just not very good in the air. So we're going to play him as a centre-back and hopefully he can kind of develop that. We're also keeping Avery Appiah playing there because if we don't, they put somebody completely different in that position. Just for interest, this is the best 11. So we've got Stims and Strassen up front. It could be a risk not playing Radek Vitek because obviously last season he was outstanding for us, keeping 14 clean sheets. I might not commit to the Mothra kind of goalkeeper situation. We might go back to Vitek. We have also made it into the actual Champions League. We're in the actual Champions League. I think we had to play, I want to say, I don't even know, who was it? I literally saw it. It was Karabag from Azerbaijan to get through, which we just about scraped through. 4-3 defeat in the second leg, but we won the first leg 2-0, which is all well and good. We have Young Boys Club Brugge, Man United, Porto, Shakhtar, Sevilla, Inter and Monaco in our Champions League. I think we are finishing probably where we currently sit, about 31st. I don't think we're getting through this, anybody. The board also wanted us to really win the Romanian Super Cup, and we failed. We lost the match, but it does not really matter. We are now going to jump forward to the winter break, so somewhere mid-December time, to see where we are and see how well we're getting on. It's not looking good. It is not looking good at all. So, in the league, we have dropped down to 7th place. We do have 2 games in hand over some of the teams around us, but only 1 game in hand over Farol Constanța and Craiova, which is not ideal. We've lost 5 and we've drawn 5. We lost to FCSB, Arad, Farol Constanța, Rapid, and IASI. 5 draws as well. They're not good draws either. They're draws teams below us for the most part. And the Champions League, we're 31st. We are exactly where I thought we would be. We have drawn 3, though, which is good. Sevilla, Porto, and Young Boys. And we have lost 3 against Shakhtar, Man United, and Club Brugge. We've still got Monaco and someone else to play. I'm not quite sure who the other team was. Can't remember. And I suspect we'll probably lose both of them. So what has gone on? Have we just played badly? Is the Champions League a distraction? I feel like it probably is a distraction. We lose against Rapid and Farol Constanța. And then we win a couple of league games, and then we win another one, then we draw, and then we lose 2 more. We're just inconsistent. We're just inconsistent at the moment. This is not ideal. And I did stick with Mothra, which I'm not convinced is a good idea, but we have stuck with Mothra, and I feel like I might stick with him to the end of the season, because I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. As long as we finish in the top 6, I think the board should be fine. We're still expected to be champions, which I'm not quite sure is going to happen anymore, guys. We are getting a lot of goals, though. Ikenna Aziz has 10 goals in all competitions, and I'm not really sure why he's playing. He's not very good. Strassen has 11 in all competitions, and Ellis Sims by far and away is our top goal scorer with 21, 13 in 16 league appearances. So we are scoring the goals. I think just defensively, we are looking a little bit fragile. And looking at Serrano, his average rating in the league is at 6.97, so it's not terrible. So maybe it's not the centre-back. It might be Mothra. He's on a 6.76. Is Mothra the problem? I don't want to admit that he is. Anyway, you know the deal. We're now going to jump forward to the end of the January transfer window to see how well we've got on and to see whether we have kind of hopefully turned this around, because we need to really turn this around. So, it is now the 10th of March, and we have turned things around. We are up into 4th place in the table, 51 points. FCSB are so far and away ahead of everybody, it is ridiculous. We are also in the Romanian Cup semi-final against FCSB. What have they done? Have they just gone nuts and spent loads of money or something? They've not spent a lot of money. £1.9 million. They've just suddenly turned into a really good side, apparently. Speaking of spending money, in fact, more speaking of receiving money, we've kind of done some business, and some of it might have been a terrible idea. Luis Serrano is the first one leaving for Al Weda, and he's gone for £3.1 million. There are sell-on clauses in there, because basically, we could not really turn this down. I think he might have also had a minimum fee release clause in his contract, which we were not going to be able to basically keep him at the club. Serrano's moved on. Not ideal. Someone else who's moved on is Radek Vitek, which is a silly thing to do. I'm fully aware it's a silly thing to do. We shot ourselves in the foot with the Mothwa business. Playing Mothwa annoyed Vitek so much that he wanted to leave and refused to do anything else other than leave. So we've had to sell him. He's gone to Slavia Prague for £2.1 million, potentially rising to £2.6 million. We made a loss on Radek Vitek. It was probably a silly thing to do. Mothwa might have cost us the title. We've also sold Lucas Kashar to FC Rapid because basically he wasn't playing for us. I was hoping this guy would be some like half decent. He's gone for 84, potentially rising, I think, to a lot more than that, to like 300,000. But we have obviously brought in players to replace the ones that have left. Julio Martinez is first up. He is a 20-year-old Paraguayan defensive midfielder, maybe centre-back. He's not a centre-back. He's 5'9". He's joined on a free transfer. Because we've sold Vitek, we've signed Alenye, might be his name, on a free transfer, 30-year-old Romanian goalkeeper. He's basically been playing for a second division side, I believe, but we just needed a backup. For £88,000, we have signed Dan Mutyaba from URA in his native Uganda and loaned him out to Sepsi. I think he looks quite good. Sepsi are already playing him in the first division, so there's definitely something there. For £400,000, we have signed Jakub Loksa, who is a Czech left-back, although I'm very tempted to retrain him to be a centre-back because he's 6'4", and he's got 17 jumping reach. He's got 10 heading, which isn't amazing, but he could do a very good job as a centre-back. For £900,000, we have signed Daniel Tapia, a Chilean striker, and I saw him and just saw the 3 technical numbers. Dribbling, finishing, first touch, and I went, yes, bring him in. Then my eyes panned across to mental. Flair of 18, off the ball, teamwork and work rate as well, all really high physically. Also pretty good as well with that 17 acceleration. We might have a superstar here. And finally, for £2.5 million, which is probably too much money, but we had to pay a little bit of a Romanian tax because we signed him from Dynamo Bucharest, it is Kyobi Pwancici. Could be his name. Pwancici? Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, does it? He's 22. He's got 3 caps and 2 goals for Romania from centre-back. He's probably going to be the Serrano replacement, isn't he? So looking at our results, we are still not particularly consistent. Still some very poor performances, some decent ones as well, kind of nestled in with the whole Champions League Inter and AC Milan, AS Monaco thing going on, where we got absolutely smashed by Monaco 5-1, but we beat Voluntari, we beat Iasi, and then February happened, which was not good. We picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points in February over 7 games. We picked up 7 points. We could have got 21 points if we won all them. So it does mean we are going to be in the top stage, but I think realistically, FCSB have won the league because we're going to drop down to 25, maybe 26 points. I'm not quite sure how that works when you're on an odd number, but we are going to be so far away from FCSB. I think maybe we can hope to finish second. That's all we can do. So with that in mind, let's jump forward to the end of the season and see how well we've done. Have we managed to finish second? Have we managed to win the Romanian Cup? That's this. Yep, this is a problem. This is most definitely a problem. We've been sacked. Have we been sacked, or has my contract just expired and I'm an idiot and didn't sign a new one? We've been sacked due to the club's poor league position. 4th. I assume I got sacked at the end of the season. I assume that's when it happened. They finished 4th place, which isn't awful, is it? It's not really that bad at all, but for some reason, that is disastrous, and he must fire the manager who won them the league twice, the Romanian Cup, and the Europa Conference League in 7 seasons, and then they sack me. I feel like that's very harsh. So what happened? I imagine, we just did not play very well, did we? We beat Cluj, we drew with Dynamo Bucharest, we then beat Craiova, and then it all kind of fell apart, didn't it? In fact, we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games without scoring a goal. I don't think you can blame me for us not scoring a goal. But there we are. That seems to be what has happened. We're without a job. We are without a job at the end of Season 8. Now, normally, I'd end this here. However, I think we might need to go on a little bit of a job hunt. And right now, FC Voluntari are the only team who have a job available, and they've just been relegated. So I don't really want that. FC Rapid apparently is at risk. Apparently, Eon Pop, his position is at risk. So it's Voluntari or Rapid are the two teams right now. We are going to jump forward to when I get a new job, and we're going to take a very quick look at the team and maybe see what we can try and do with that team as we go into Season 9, because we are still building the nation of Romania. Just because we have been screwed over by Arges does not mean we are ending this building a nation save. We are carrying on. We are finding ourselves a new home. And that home is FC Rapid in Bucharest. Founded in 2017. They were a bit of a Phoenix club, I think. I'd say bit of. I think they are a Phoenix club. We have taken over. We are still in the Romanian First League, which is very, very good. They did not get relegated. So now our next job, if we take a look at the season preview, we're expected to finish 8th place. So if we just finish somewhere in the middle, that will be very good. I'll be happy with finishing. If we can get into the top 6, that will be ideal. From a finance perspective, we got £1.3 million to spend and a fairly chunky wage budget, actually. £100,000 wage budget, which we've got, what is that, 14,000 maybe to spend on our wages. From a squad perspective, it's very small. It's a very small team. Let's sort by that. So we've got one goalkeeper. Not ideal. He's 33. We've got a couple of centre-backs. We've got a right-back. This team needs a lot of work. It is, however, quite stacked with good players. The best player, apparently, is Marco Lemma, or is it Iemma? Not quite sure. An Italian striker. Do quite like the look of him. I'm hoping next season he can score us a lot of goals. Albion Rahmani as well. He also looks very good. It looks like we need to play a 2-striker formation, I think, with Rapid, because we've got 2 very good strikers. We've also got Mohamed Sonogo, who I'm not quite sure. Is he a right back? Is he a right winger? I'd be tempted to play him as a right winger to give us a better player to play on that right-hand side going forward. He's ridiculously fast. Also, he's been signed from AFAD Plateau, which used to be called AFAD Jekanu, if I'm not mistaken. Always check this team out. If you got Ivory Coast youth players coming through, these will have some very good players. And Mbemba Bangura will be that right winger then. So yeah, the last guy would be a right back. Bangura will be the right winger. Looks quite good. In central defence, they've got Modu Dieng. Also looks very good. I'm not sure how this team nearly got relegated. Honestly, I'm not sure, because some of these players are better than what we had at Arges. So there is a lot of players there. A lot of players that I think are pretty decent, but we do have a small squad. If we take a look at our second team, it's fairly sizable. George Castro, a Honduran central midfielder. You need to get straight into the first team, buddy. Looks like we've actually got some half-decent potential players as well. Golda, Avram, Gimbasan maybe could be pretty good. Lucas Kashar, who we sold to Rapid earlier on in the season. Okay, Lucas Kashar's here. I think we're going to put you in the first team and maybe force play you, because apparently I've decided you're my best friend. In the under-19s as well, we've got a couple of players who might get good in the future, but right now they don't look anything special. I feel like this is going to be tough. Our entire squad size, including the under-18s and so on, is... How many players have we got? 62. That's a lot of players, actually, isn't it? Let's take off those 2. We've got one goalkeeper for a start, haven't we? We've got one goalkeeper, which really does not help anybody. We've got 21 players. My bare minimum that I want in my squad, in my first team, is 22. I want 2 players for every position. 2 goalkeepers, 2 right backs, 2 left backs, 4 centre backs, 4 defence midfielders, that kind of thing. So we are going to have to do some transfer business in the summer with this Rapid side, but we need to look at this as not a step backwards. This is merely a bump in the road for our building a nation save of Romania. And speaking of building a nation, we are climbing slightly. We're up to 18th. Is that climbing? I don't know whether that's climbing. Next season, in theory, we are potentially moving all the way up to whatever that is, 15th place. I think we're still not in a position where we're getting 2 teams. We're not at the moment. But maybe if teams that we're not in control of do well in Europe next season, we might be at this position where we get 2 teams possibly going into the Champions League. So it's out of our hands for a season. A season, let's say it's out of our hands. But hopefully we can continue to help build the nation of Romania. That's going to do it then for this episode and Season 8. Season 9, it's a new beginning. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, do please remember to leave a like. Subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you in Season 9.